Robert Downey Jr. might not be as out of Iron Man as you might think. There have been rumors that RDJ might actually be returning to Iron Man, for even if he doesn't, there is one actress ready to take on the role of the notorious billionaire. So don't swap or click away, because here is why you should be excited about Iron Man 4.
Will there be a fourth Iron Man?
Negotiation, blah, blah, blah.
So yes.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Okay, good.
There are trailers, CBRs talking and making videos, there are interviews with RDJ confirming that there are more Iron Man movies, but still somehow the internet doesn't know whether he'll be returning in Iron Man 4. So let's dissect everything we found out so far and tell you why do we think you should be excited for Iron Man 4. First of all, we should talk about the Notorious Ellen interview in which he asks Robert to confirm whether or not Iron Man 4 is in the making. He just smiled and tried to avoid answering Ellen's burning question, but she was adamant and he just said, okay, yeah, well, yeah, of course. He laughed, Ellen laughed, everyone in the audience laughed and cheered, but we think that was a little more to that supposedly sarcastic comment.
Is the door to Iron Man totally closed? Because I don't believe it is.
Oh.
You guys can go through time now. You can go, there was.
Second, we have to talk about the Joe Rogan podcast interview, and it's something that the entire internet has been talking about. Even though Joe and Robert talked about many different subjects during the 1-hour interview, what really caught our eye the most was this little segment where Joe, just like everyone else in the freaking world, wanted to know whether or not RDJ is coming for Iron Man 4. Robert gave a surprising answer when he just said that it would make fans feel as if he had come back one too many times and just make it look cheesy. So, for the time being, he's not gonna be taking on the role of Tony Stark in any future movie. The actor even talked about how he had a great exit in Avengers Endgame, and he had one hell of a send-off by the entire cast. So if they decide to bring him back, this is gonna feel like he's pushing a little too hard. It's not all lost, because Joe Rogan did ask him something that made us think.
And they realize they need a super genius. And then they figure out how to restart that time machine.
Great.
Rogan suggested that instead of making the 4th Iron Man movie immediately, Robert should go ahead and smashing that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, RDJ can focus on his other creative ventures. MCU would continue making their Avengers movies, but then eventually the Avengers would need help from a genius to defeat a major villain threatening to destroy the world. Since they can use a time machine, it wouldn't be difficult to go back in time and pick up younger Tony, then bring him into the future, who'll actually help them.
Oh, it's good to be back.
If you ask us, we'll tell you that actually introducing him to the brand new Avengers makes for a killer comeback, and we for one stand behind it, but what we want to see is slightly different. You see, we'd like to see a slightly different scenario play out. We'd like to see Tony Stark come back from another universe. Now here's how that would look like. The threat is still there, that it's a giant villain that everyone's trying to defeat. Seeing that he or she is too powerful and can't, they realize that the new team of Avengers would need a genius to solve the problem. So instead of going back in time, they go to a different universe, one in which Tony Stark found a way to kill Thanos and also stay alive afterwards, but didn't manage to save his daughter. Tony is now old, he's wise, and he comes back. Even though unable to fight, he's still able to give some very insightful strategies on defeating this major villain. We think that if the MCU did this, it wouldn't jeopardize the epic ending Tony Stark had back in 2019 with Avengers Endgame. Instead, it would show us Tony Stark in a completely different light, and we have to say, imagining him with a gray beard and gray hair is absolutely ludicrous.
This is the beginning. For you.
But then, there are still those who think that RDJ wouldn't be a good fit for Iron Man 4. Instead, many of the trailers that are available online and made by fans are actually featuring a different character in the leading role. A female actress will take on the role of Tony Stark. That being said, here's how they could make the next movie a little different. Instead of continuing the saga with the same superhero, they could pass on the mantle to Megan Stark, Tony Stark's daughter. After all, the fans did go crazy for Katherine Langford when they saw her play Megan Stark in the deleted scenes that Marvel released after the movie premiered.
Just worked.
Yeah.
After seeing it, fans were scratching their heads as to why Marvel didn't include this clip into the movie, since it clearly showed a beautiful moment between Tony and his daughter, the only girl he can say "I love you" 3,000 to. And seeing how Katherine Langford is a great actress, we think that she would do a great job taking on the lead in the new Iron Man 4. We're gonna go out on a limb and say that the fans would love to see her in the movie as well. Why? because the fan-made trailers featuring her in the lead role on YouTube have garnered tens of millions of views, and these are all amateur video clips.
In the end. I'm happy we had the time that we did.
We also know that Catherine has said she has had a blast filming that short little scene with Robert Downey Jr., and she even added that RDJ treated her like a true star. Since she has admitted to being a true Marvel fan, there's a huge chance she'll appear in some of their next movies, so here's what we're thinking. Catherine Langford takes on the role of Megan Stark. She's trained by her mother, Pepper Potts, who was herself trained by Tony Stark. If this does happen, it would actually be like Tony Stark trained his own daughter. After the rigorous training, Megan will seek to join the Avengers. The movie will take place in the future when Megan is around 20 years old. She has become a part of the new team of Avengers and are still facing a threat. However, they don't know how to solve it, and this is when they travel the multiverse to find old Tony Stark, bring him back. But don't tell us who they'll be looking for. The camera cuts to an epic fight scene, and then when it's over, they come back to the lab. The team found who they're looking for, and from inside the portal, old Tony Stark steps out. They finally have their father-daughter moment, just like in the deleted scene from the past. Still, remember that this is just our prediction, it doesn't have to be true, but we would be stoked if it actually was. Despite all of this, CBR has said something completely different from what everyone else was predicting online. Instead of thinking that Tony Stark will have his own movie, they've gone ahead and speculated that RDJ will be returning as Iron Man but as a secondary character. You see, since Marvel is making all of these other superhero movies aside from Iron Man and the Avengers, they might decide to include Tony Stark in one of them, just like they included him in the second Spider-Man movie. The top contender for getting Iron Man back was the Black Widow movie, but then again, this movie didn't deliver on these speculations, so we're wondering what they had to say about this. We looked into it and we realized that they, too, went with Megan freaking Stark as the new Iron Man 4.
This is the beginning. For you.
They know that Riri Williams from Earth 616 takes on the mantle as Iron Man in the comics after Tony Stark's death, but they realize that Megan would be a better replacement for this next chapter, the Iron Man saga. On a related note, who do you think would be the best replacement for Tony Stark? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you liked our video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.